it's underground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've got to stand our ground, so we won't back down. No, we won't back down.
Engagement Director for the VCDL Academy. So we were talking earlier about the upcoming elections and how things could go very much like they did in 2019, leaving us in 2020 with a very unfavorable General Assembly. Or if we get proactive, things could go very well and we could end up with the exact opposite. So Cathy with the VCDL-PAC has some ideas about how we can help to influence the election in a positive way, and also was going to talk about the VCDL-PAC's fundraiser, which is coming up in September.
Yeah.
Yes. Go ahead.
Anybody getting an echo on this? I'm getting an echo. It started right when the fight song ended.
I am not getting an echo. Let me see what the comments say. We have hello from downtown Ballards, and no, I don't see any comments. Anybody that's hearing an echo online, just type it in the comments for me. I appreciate that. So we do have Mark saying.
Okay, so I'm going to sign out because this is going to drive me crazy. I'll sign out and come back in.
Okay. Yeah, Theron says no echo for him. Mark is saying that the November 2023 election is crucial. Cathy, you want to talk about why it's so important?
Oh, absolutely. I just wrote a short piece for the Defender that's coming out and outlined very quickly what happened from 2019 through now 2023. We're in that same election cycle. This is what they call the off year election. A lot of your local, well, most of your board of supervisors, constitutional officers throughout the state are also running. And obviously we're going to be concentrating on the legislature. But we know what happened in 19, and gun owners were not particularly engaged in that election. And the anti-gun took the majority, and they did what they had been promising to do for years. And nobody should be surprised by this. Tons of out-of-state money came in, and we all heard comments, in early 2020 from gun owners as we were going to events or talking to people, like, hey, what happened? And, my response was, hey, what did you do? I mean, I'm glad you showed up to vote, but were you getting your friends to vote? Did you give, pro Second Amendment candidates any money? So we have a whole process where we endorse candidates. We raise money. That's what a PAC does. It's a political action committee. And we have a fundraiser every year. And we started it in 2020. 2021, 2022, 2023. This is our third year. And each year it's gotten better, and we've raised a little bit more money. Everybody should kind of have their designated event, so that you can kind of annually get together. You can attend. It's in Powhatan, and it's on September, is it the 19th?
16th, I believe it is.
Sorry, that's a Saturday. So we would love for you all to come, and we've got some great sponsors. John McGuire has stepped up and sponsored, taken the military sponsor. So it is a gun event. There's competition. You can win money. There's food. There's fellowship. And if you can't make it, we would love to have a donation from you. We'll be sending out more information, because I know we're going to get a sponsorship for law enforcement. And what we've done is we've structured it so that, like John McGuire has given a sponsorship, and it allows so many entries for military folks to come and join for the day free. And we're going to do the same thing. Last year we sold the law enforcement one, and I can guarantee we're going to sell that one too. So we will be sending that out, and there will be about 20 slots for each sponsorship where folks can come in, whether you're law enforcement or military, and shoot for the day. So that's a great opportunity to bring new people in too. Like, if you're with the sheriff's department near Powhatan, and you get an invitation, let us know if you have a friend that wants to come. So we'll push all that information out to you. But I also just kind of want to quickly talk, and this is another point I made for the short blurb in the Defender, and it's about early voting. Not everybody's favorite topic. I hate it, and most of you probably do too. It's gotten to the point where we have 45 days of voting in the state of Virginia, and it starts in the middle of September. We're in the middle of, wait, does it start in the middle? Yeah. Yes, it does. It's like 42 days away or something from the 45 days of voting. So it's insane. And the Democrat, okay, I'm talking in party politics now. Democrats and all of their progressive groups have been very good at not only crafting election law, they use the pandemic, we didn't have the numbers to fight it. They relaxed the rules. We have Sunday voting now. I mean, who really needs to vote on the Sunday before the election? It's just, it's crazy. And they've used it effectively, and we can now basically legally ballot harvest in the state of Virginia. And it gives me, it's an ick factor, right? I don't like it, but it's the rules, and it's the reality on the ground. And if we don't start fighting fire with fire, we're going to become extinct. So
I lost sound there, Kathy. Can other people
I
still
hear.
hear Kathy?
I hear. Yeah.
Okay, that was
okay,
weird.
I'll keep talking.
I got this in the mail. I don't know if that's going to show. Wait a minute. Let me see if I get close enough for it. Oh gosh.
Hold it in
it's
front of
like
your body.
okay. Can you read it?
Apply for your
Yeah, this is
absentee
from the Republican Party, asking me to get an absentee ballot. So they're taking advantage of the situation as well. As you said, that it can't be just one party taking advantage of the new voting laws.
Right. And this is great. Somebody made my next point. Mark, is it Toki? Vote early so nobody steals your vote.
Yeah.
Get in on there the first day of early voting. And guess what? Then you've got, 40, 45 days to make sure that your neighbors and your spouse and, like-minded people who support gun rights can get in there too. And I've been doing it for years, and it's really effective in special elections. Just text people. I mean, we do texts from the PAC too. We'll remind you to vote, particularly in very, crucial Senate and House races. It's really not expensive to do kind of a blast text to remind people to vote, but you can do it personally as well. And even if you get one other person to show up, one other person, it's 100% increase from your vote. So I know people don't like it, but we've got to fight fire with fire. Lock and load your vote. This is what I keep telling everybody. Lock and load your vote, and then go get your friends and your relatives and like-minded Second Amendment folks to come in and vote too. So that's basically what the PAC's going to do. One more thing I want to talk about. Vast knowledge of guns. I don't. I talk about the right to defend yourself. I talk about our Constitution, and I don't back down. People kind of freak out when they realize, especially women who are in these anti-gun groups. They get very emotional. They don't even want to be in the same room with you, and they call you all kind of names. We aren't like that. We aren't like that. We're standing up for our rights. And we have to have confidence and bravery to be able to do that. And I think sometimes women get, they're like, I don't know anything about guns. I don't really want to talk about that. They're comfortable in things that they know about. And that's everybody. Everybody is comfortable talking about what they know about. So I just would like to talk to women specifically because I've been there. I've been one of those people that's been hesitant. And so we will do this. We will do this, within the next week or two. And like I said, we'll jump on a Zoom and, hope that women join us and allow us to answer their questions.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about being proactive versus reactive. So if we wait for something to happen and then react to it, we can still be proactive to a degree. But if we look at situations and say, okay, you have groups like Moms Demand Action, for instance, and you have a lot of people, both men and women, that don't necessarily understand the Second Amendment, the reason behind it, and the reason that we are so passionate about preserving it and restoring it. So if we are proactive and we go to, say, women's groups that aren't gun groups per se, but they're places where women get together and we talk to them and maybe ask them leading questions so that they discover that Second Amendment rights are women's rights. Cathy and I were talking about it. It's only been just over 100 years that women had the right to vote. And there were women that actually put their lives on the line to gain that right to vote. And so these are things that we can discuss with people and relate to them to their personal life experiences, so that they can see where we're coming from in a way that makes sense to them.
Yes. And, I mean, it's kind of wherever people gather, you have to go and just be involved in your community and let people
You would think. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
No, let people know you first before, if people know you as a member of the community, whatever you do, maybe you want to join the library board or, work on the zoning commission or whatever it is. And then they find out that you're a Second Amendment supporter. They already know you. And I'm telling you all something that you all already know, I mean, it is all about community involvement. So, and that's why like the VCDL Academy is kind of crucial. I'm going to kind of throw it there because this is involvement of young people. It's a generational situation, unfortunately, that we're seeing where people who are millennials and down, the Gen Zs, whether it's through lack of civics or whatever you want to blame it on, don't have that base knowledge on the Second Amendment. And it's something that probably should have been started 20 years ago, and it's a time and effort situation that we all have.
Well, it's worse than that. They've been lied to. They have been guided towards, oh my God, you even draw a gun on a piece of paper or write the word gun, and we're going to kick you out of school. Oh no, they have been intentionally turning young people against it so that they want nothing to do with guns. They're looking for every avenue they can to shut it down. And one way is to say, well, we got the right, but nobody wants to exercise it, so tough. No, it's so much worse than that. And again, that's why the academy is important. It's a chance to let people know. And as far as talking to women, the one thing that, it might be a stretch for them to understand one of the purposes of the Second Amendment was to take back your country should it ever become tyrannical. But self-defense is a pretty basic concept, and it's very much a part of the Second Amendment. Now, what you run into is people that are got their head in the sand are doing this. Oh no, I don't have to worry. I'm in a safe area. I don't have to worry. So I'm not going to think about self-defense. It's nothing I need. Somehow it's a matter of getting those people to understand, actually, yeah, I can change in a heartbeat. And, there's plenty of examples every day out there of that. But that's probably one way to get in. And you're 100% right, though. If they know you through a variety of channels, you're not just this one little Second Amendment robot. You're a living, breathing human being that's got a wide spectrum of interests. That helps. Then, I've certainly had that experience where somebody had no idea where I stood on guns. And by the time they did, where they would have been uncomfortable, what I learned later, they were perfectly comfortable because they didn't see me as any kind of a lunatic that was out to hurt anybody. So,
No, agree. No matter what it is, it can be your PTA.
Yeah.
And I say this all the time. There are commissions and through your county. If you look on your county website to see all of the committees and commissions that they try to populate for everything from beautification to, like I said, zoning and library board, whatever it is, there's always vacancies. They can't fill these slots. And I'll tell you one thing that the Democrats do. They shove, or I'm going to say progressives more than anything, they shove people in every bureaucracy that they can because a bad idea is born everywhere, right? And all it needs to do is filter up in a bubble. It doesn't matter that it happened in the library association. They get to know people. They know people in county government, and their bad ideas passed along and it's passed along. And pretty soon you've got crazy things going on in your county. So it's not just guns either. You should be present in your community to keep track of what the heck. The schools are a great situation. I don't want to get into that because that's like, I'm in Loudoun County and it's crazy town up here, but that's where we are. That's where we are. So I'm not saying anything that anybody has ever said to you or has never said to you in your life before. It's a fact of life, I think. And we all know this. I just felt like we needed a little reminder.
Yeah. And, what Cathy's saying about being involved in your local government, it holds true. So first off, I don't think any one of us are truly single issue people. VCDL is a single issue organization, and we do that so that we can be effective. We focus, laser focus on the right to keep and bear arms. But as people, we have varied interests. For instance, I'm a gun dealer, I'm a potter, I like fishing, I can knit, crochet. So I have all kinds of different interests and hobbies. And I have other interests politically besides just Second Amendment issues. So if I, as a person, get involved, say that I have school age kids, I may get involved with my PTA or sitting on school board meetings to know what's going on and what decisions are being made that affect my children. Um, these are all things that we can do, and like Cathy says, there's thousands of opportunities for bad things to come down the pike, and they don't always start out as an anti-gun or an anti-Second Amendment idea. But the more involved that we are and the more people that we know, the larger our circle of influence becomes. So, you've heard me preach before that if you don't know the names of your supervisors on your city council members, if they don't know your name, you're not doing something right. If your state senator or delegate doesn't know your face, you're not doing something right. You need to be engaged with them to the degree that there is a personal back and forth and they recognize you and you recognize them. That way we can be effective and we can talk to them as people, not as that gun advocate that calls my office all of the time.
Yeah, you might find that there's some common ground that you have that's nothing to do with guns, that where they might be kind of iffy on guns, but you've kind of stood with them and communicated in a positive way, have an agreement on something which may be out there, and then guns comes up, that might help make them influenced a little bit to see things more your way.
I wanted
Certainly
to talk
can't
to
hurt.
somebody mentioned the U.S. Senate candidates for next year. I've had a couple of them call, and they should be reaching out to VCDL and the PAC, and they should be showing up in the community events that Second Amendment folks have, and they should be engaging. But when you talk to those U.S. Senate candidates, which are running next year, they're going to have to start. I think they can collect signatures now to get on the ballot. We've got a race this November. I want you to ask them, what are they doing for these candidates this year? What are they doing for candidates for pro Second Amendment candidates this year? Have they volunteered their time? They probably aren't stroking big checks to state candidates. They can go to events. They can make phone calls. They need to be doing the work if they want our support next year. We can't endorse in federal races, but they can fill out our survey, and they can come to our events, and they can show us who they are. And if they're helping us this year, they're showing us who they are. So as much as I want to, reach out to all of those 2024 candidates, first off, I'd love for them to sponsor our event. That'd be great. So if any of them are listening tonight, please contact me. But other than that, get your ass in gear and let's start and work for these candidates and get people out for early voting for wherever you live, as you're traveling about the Commonwealth. So, and I say that in a nice way. I'm not trying to be, pointed. I mean, I'm not trying to be nasty. I'm trying to be pointed. All boats need to be rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, and somebody earlier made the comment that they have friends that don't vote. I too know some people that don't vote, and they say, "Oh, my vote doesn't count," or "Oh, it's rigged," or "It doesn't do any good." There's a ton of excuses, but the flat out truth is, even if it's rigged, even if it's not going to make any difference, if you don't cast your vote, you're giving up your voice. And it is the best system that we've got right now. If we don't show up at the polls in November of this year, somebody else is going to be picking for us the people that are going to be making the laws that affect us. So we need to do what it takes. We need to hold the hard conversations. Everybody says, "Oh, don't talk politics or religion." Well, we need to talk politics, and we need to convince those people that don't vote, especially in the off years, or only vote in presidential years or whatever, that their vote does count for something, and it was a hard fought battle to win that right to govern ourselves, and to give it up willingly like that is just sacrilege to me.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's really true. There may be some places where they attempt to steal it, but if enough people turn out, they really can't cover it up. Uh, again, it doesn't matter. It's to me, honestly, the people that say, "Oh, my vote doesn't count," that's an excuse. They just don't want to do it, and they want an excuse. Oh, it doesn't count. They got a list of excuses. That's all it is. They're being lazy. They're not following through with the very little that's required to be a citizen in this country. Is to get out and vote and pick the right people. Because if you don't have the right people steering the ship, you're going to end up crashing into the rocks. You've got to get the right people up there, and your vote is what does it. And in the end, if your vote doesn't count, you can still look your face up in the mirror and say, "I did my part. I did everything I could do." But if you're not voting, you got no. Don't look in the mirror, because you're not going to like what you see there.
And frankly,
you're letting everybody down.
Yeah, if you're worried about election fraud, volunteer.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
become an election official or a moderator. Talk to your local registrar and find out what you can do to ensure that the vote in your precinct is counted properly and everything's on the up and up.
Yeah,
That's exactly
absolutely.
right. Every county has a registrar. They all have training. The training to work in the polls is online, and you got to get certified. You get on their list, and hopefully they're doing parity between both parties in your county. But that's what the structure is. And I'll tell you, when I did the training probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I was an election officer for 3 or 4 years, it gave me a great overall education just about what's happening as they set up kind of the canvas afterwards. When the election is really called, all of that has changed in the past couple of years. Again, I know you are probably crazy worried about it, as am I. But whatever the system is, learn what it is and go participate. Because if you're going to be like, well, the elections are stolen anyways, there's nothing we can do about it. I'm not sure what can I say to you, except, well, if you're not going to try, then I'm just going to go talk to the next person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time with people who are going to say, well, there's nothing we can do. Screw it.
I don't want to hear them complain about a damn thing.
No, I'm not.
I don't want to hear a word from them. You didn't vote. I don't. Yeah, too bad. Tough. If you don't like what's out there, it's your fault.
Again, I will
knock on
say,
doors, and they get somebody that really disagrees with them, or is just really, the advice is don't waste 45 minutes on someone that you're never, ever, ever, ever going to get to vote with you, or ever going to get to do anything. Right? Move on and talk to 10 other people. And that's the advice that we have to do for ourselves. It's frustrating. I get it. Oh my God.
But you have to know when to let go and say, okay, this is an all lost cause. So let's move on, because there's 3 other people I could get to if I didn't waste more time with this person. That's exactly right. Somebody's pointing out that out of every 10 workers at the polls, 7 are Democrats and only 3 are Republicans.
That depends on the county. And like I said, you have to talk to your registrar, and you have to talk to this is done through the party system in the state. What the registrar should be doing is reaching out to both county chairs, the Democrat and the Republican county chair, and saying, and cooperating with them. Ours does here in Loudoun. She's fantastic. And when I say you want parity, you do want to talk with people that are kind of in the know to see, is it Republican and Democrats in both polling locations? And it is lopsided. In Fairfax County, they can't even, sometimes they only have about a third of what the Democrats have. It just, all you can do is keep pushing and pushing and pushing people.
And make sure you're in there.
Yeah. And make sure they get in there. Have eyes on the process. I'm a process.
Blue Rebel notes that it's not only our Second Amendment that's at stake, and maybe that's another way to reach out to people and say maybe they're not really strong on the Second Amendment, but all of our rights, and they can't deny it. I mean, even the First Amendment's under attack, all kinds of things. under attack. I will say that if you got somebody that's truly good on guns, they're usually very good on the overall Constitution.
Yeah.
If they understand the gun part, they understand the freedom of speech part, they understand the right to search and seizure and all that stuff. They've got that down. So you stand a much better chance. So VCDL, in that sense, does homework for a whole lot of different things that people might be interested in if they're interested in the Constitution as it was laid out by our founding fathers. And let me pause too before I forget. PJC I mentioned earlier. Well, there's not much VCDL presence on the south side. Now I don't. When he says south side, I don't know if he's referring to southeast down in Tidewater or if he's talking truly south of Richmond, down in that area. I will say again, we're open to having meetings around the state, but we can't just set up meetings randomly. We need people in the area to find a place to hold those meetings. And all it takes, it's not hard. If you want something on the south side, get in touch with me, president at vcdl.org. And I see Virginia Beach is what he's talking about. Yeah, we do need to do one down there. We used to do them quite a bit. COVID goofed that up. We need to get back in the cycle. We used to go to the main library, one of the main libraries in Virginia Beach, and then they closed it before COVID to do some remodeling, and then COVID hit. And I don't know if that room is available now. But yeah, PJC, if you want to go down there, talk to the library and see the big one and see if we can get a room there, communicate with me, president at vcdl.org. I'll get on the calendar. We'll set something up. I can't book the room probably because I don't live down there. I live in Chesterfield, but if you can book it, that's great. We'll set a time and date and we'll do it. We definitely need to be in Tidewater more. It's a very important part of the state. We just haven't been down there. I agree with that part, but we could use some help with that stuff.
So the requirements are find a meeting room where they don't ban guns and will hold at least 50 people. And bonus points if there's a gun-friendly restaurant nearby where we can go afterwards and have continued fellowship.
Or at least not a gun-unfriendly restaurant.
Right.
Because we don't ask. It's like, you never call and say, is it okay? I carry guns. Okay if I come in? It's like you don't do that. There's no sign posted. Go about your business.
Yeah, no sign posted. And, sometimes you can do a test case by having dinner there open carrying or something. That's
Sure,
what I'll typically do.
Yeah.
Don't ask, just go and have a bite to eat and open carry while you're there.
Okay, so anyway, PJC is going to take care of it. Go ahead, Cathy.
Someone asked about sheriff's races. The sheriffs can fill out a survey. We did endorse one or two sheriffs in the primaries. We made the bold step of endorsing in primaries this year, which had its ups and downs, but we did it. We felt very strongly that there was, especially with all of the redistricting in the whole state, there was a lot of confusion, and there still is. Who's running where. So that it was kind of an education issue there too. But there were a couple of sheriffs, maybe one or two that we did endorse in the primaries, and we will endorse in the general too. So if you have a sheriff candidate that is running against some, I think somebody said, a sanctuary city, if that sheriff stinks and there's somebody on the ballot, please, send them the link from the VCDL website. Just go under surveys, just search VCDL-PAC survey or VCDL survey, and the link will come up, and it's sorted by office, and send that candidate the link, and it's got instructions on how to send it back.
Yeah. So, Cathy, do you want to explain the process for getting a PAC endorsement? Just what are the basic requirements?
Sure. We're gonna have to be doing them fairly soon here for the general. I mean, the basic requirement is that you be a legitimate candidate and that you're on the ballot. I suppose if you were attempting some type of write-in campaign, I'm not sure that we've ever even encountered that situation before from a PAC perspective. But you do have to fill out the survey. And it's best if you contact us, quite frankly, go ahead and email. All of our email addresses are on the website as well. And I'd love to chat with any candidate that needs to chat. The survey gets the survey results are done by Jim Snyder, and he sends them over to the PAC, and we have a roundtable discussion. And money is allocated. I think this year we're probably going to be concentrating very narrowly on a couple Senate and House candidates or races, because I think it's going to come down. I mean, I've just been seeing a lot of analysis. It's tight, guys. It's super tight. And I think that's where our money is going to go. It's the whole reason that we're fundraising. We did a bang up job in 2021. I mean, we had the money to do what we needed to do. And it was just absolutely fantastic what we were able to do. And that was not only give candidates money, with like 28 out of 51 of our candidates winning, but also to be able to fund ads that were run in key markets. And we partnered with, GOA and Republican Governors Association, and ran those ads, and also VCDL proper. And it was great. I mean, we were running advocacy ads. It was it was all about safety. And
very powerful ad that ran in major markets. And it was a family sitting there watching television, and all of a sudden the lights go out and the glass is breaking. And then it flips to how McAuliffe and his running mates for lieutenant governor and AG want to take away your right to defend yourself in your home, and they're turning criminals out on the street left and right. And so the ad really was impactful. And I think that, we have digital proof that it was a major turning point in the election. So it helped us to get people in the governor's office, the AG office, and the lieutenant governor's office that will sign the bills if we can get them there. Now we need to get the people that will pass the bills so that we can get them to the governor while we have a friendly governor that will sign those bills. So being able to run those kind of ads again this election cycle would be a major game changer. But the PAC has got to raise funds, and VCDL has got to raise funds to pay for those ads.
Yeah. And I was really proud of it. I mean, it's something the PAC had never done before, and all the pieces came together. And the major piece was we had the money to do it.
Yeah, and frankly, Cathy, you've done a great job. You've really taken the bull by the horns. You've done a top-notch job, and hopefully we can keep it up.
Well, thank you. I could not have done it. We could not have done it without Bob Marsalis. So that's a big, huge shout out to him too, because he was kind of the conduit, and when you have people that can make things happen, and we can join. I'm all about coalitions. I love it. I love joining arms with people that are marching in the same direction, and that's what happened. And so, like in my political world, I mean, like Philip just said, people who are Second Amendment supporters are usually very supportive of pretty much all of our rights, right to free speech. They're also, they're conservative folks for the most part, in their lives. And so I see that as a plus when we can do that. And 2021 was wonderful. So, again, we need the money to do it. You all were there for us, in 2020 and 2021 when we were raising the money. I just want you to believe in us again, and send us what you can. And
so let me put up the flyer for the Top Gun again. Saturday, September 16th, if you're
graphic shows up.
What's that?
Someone said the sound went away. Can you all hear us now?
I'm sorry, Kathy. Steve was talking in the background. What did you say?
I said somebody had put up when the graphic went up that there was no sound, and 2 people said
Oh.
there was no sound. So hopefully we're still.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Now the sound is back. Okay.
Yeah, I was talking. I'm sorry. I forgot to add myself in the background of the layer. Anyway, yeah. So let me see. The top prize is $1,000, and it's $125 to compete. If you sign up before August 16th, it is $115. VCDL members can attend for $35. Non-VCDL members, it's $40 and $5 early bird discount. $1,000 top prize for the Top Gun in the dueling tree competition. And let's see, what did I miss?
Military,
yeah.
military, the 40 slots, mention that again.
Yep. So John McGuire is the military sponsor this year. So there's 20 slots for current or veteran military. And we're looking for a law enforcement sponsor. There will be 20 law enforcement sponsored slots. There will be camping. If you're traveling a long way, you can camp out the night before. There's fishing on the river. There's a pond with a paddle boat, and maybe a bonfire Friday night, and access to the range so you can practice Friday evening. And I think I covered all of that.
I will not be camping, so.
Yeah, my camping days are over. I'm a glamper now. The address is on the Facebook page, and I will put the website up. It's somebody's house, so I don't want to put the address out on YouTube and stuff. But if you go to the event, vcdl.org/events, and find Top Gun, the address is on the event page.
It's about 10 or 15 minutes outside of Midlothian.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice big area. It's a beautiful area. So,
it's a historic property as well.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Civil War.
Robert E. Lee and his troops walked through on their way to Appomattox on part of the property. It's amazing.
Yep. So it's driving distance from Richmond. If you don't feel like camping and you want to come up Friday evening and get a room in Richmond and come out Saturday, the event doesn't start until I think the shooting actually starts at noon. We start with the check-ins and stuff at 11 o'clock. So,
if you've never shot a dueling tree, it's a lot of fun. It's very intense. But it's a lot of fun, and it takes focus, and it takes a little bit of marksmanship, but mostly focus and able to get the speed up. Again, for those that are unfamiliar with it, basically you have 6 paddles, and when a paddle's hit, it goes from one side to the other. They just swing back and forth. You start with 3 paddles on each side, and your job is to shoot. Make sure all the paddles more paddles are on your opponent's side than are on your side. So if they end up with 4 and you have 2, then you win. And this goes until you've exhausted the same number of rounds, which I believe is 20. And you have to do 1 mag change. But whoever runs out of ammo first, the match is over at that point. So you can't take your time and dilly-dally. But if you shoot really fast and you're doing it recklessly, then you're not going to hit plates and you're going to lose. So it's a good balance. It's a lot of fun. You're really going up neck to neck with another person, and I highly recommend it. I think if you haven't done it, it's a great deal of fun.
I do think there's a great question about what can we do to help Mr. Evans reach our young people. I would love to hear about that because it worries me.
As it should.
It keeps me up at night,
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, kind of with what you were saying earlier about the election, I was kind of thinking at the same time, young people generally are the most likely to not vote in an election, kind of regardless of what their issue is. And so I was thinking of a couple of ways that, maybe people at home can kind of influence, younger people to actually vote because this is such a crucial election. I would say probably the biggest thing, especially when it comes to the Second Amendment, is to actually introduce them. If you know somebody who has never shot a gun, actually take them to the range. Even if they don't feel comfortable the first time, at least have them go through that experience of seeing it, saying, "Hey, this is a hobby that I enjoy." Um, but then really I would say also focus in on the fact that this is like the law with the Second Amendment. Trying to educate young people about what the Constitution actually says is one of the major things that we're trying to do at the VCDL Academy. But if you know people in your own life, really let them know this is what the Second Amendment, really says. And especially, a lot of times with young people, especially because they're a lot of times they have causes that they care about even though they may not vote, which is kind of paradoxical. A lot of people are kind of tend towards being like super progressive and stuff like that now, but especially on the Second Amendment particularly, if you look at the history, it's a very racist history. Gun control was really designed to keep guns out of the hands of minority and dissident populations. Um, and a lot of people, especially like the left and Democrats or progressives, they don't really grapple with that at all. And if we can kind of illuminate that, if more people can see what the actual history says and the fact that this is what our country was founded on. And again, I was just thinking, especially with what you were saying earlier, Pat, about the about like the suffragettes and like the fights that we've had to go through to get the right to vote in the first place. um you go from literally the colonists not having any sort of representation in the British Parliament. You could look at the history of slavery in America and black people or Native Americans going to women, and even especially now being able to vote if you are 18. A lot of people don't realize that that's not how it was originally. And to for all of that work to be wasted by you not voting, it's if not do it for me, do it for them. um but I think those are two kind of actionable things for people at home. um when it comes to kind of helping out the academy, we are trying to go to more gun shows. I know we're going to be at the Richmond Gun Show coming up on the I believe it's the weekend of the 25th. um, and we definitely need volunteers for that. I believe a alert should be going out. So if y'all could help attend, because I live in Richmond, we do a lot. I really try to work with the Richmond team to really put, I guess, the prototype that we want to see at all the rest of the gun shows as well. So if you want to kind of help with that, definitely volunteer for that event coming up.
No, thank you so much for that. I think what I always think about is, those that came before us, right? I mean, I had someone say, "Well, you didn't have to, fight for the right to vote." And I said, "Well, thank God there were women before me that did." I mean, wouldn't it really suck that in 2023, if women or minority, any minority group was not allowed to vote? I mean, could you imagine? Those that came before us fought. Okay, and so let's not let them down. It's a very small thing to do sometimes to help get people to the polls or to help educate a child or on something that's meaningful. And I think, Al, one of the things that I notice with young people is just the courage to be different. Peer pressure
Hmm.
is such
Oh
a
boy.
component, and
Yeah. I've never seen it this bad.
it's very hard for young people to admit that they're uncomfortable with anti-gun or whatever the cultural kind of stuff that's happening. But so they don't speak up. And I think something like the VCDL Academy, once you get to one kid and someone else sees that other kid, and they're like, well, that kids can do it, or that kid's learning about this, or uh, courage is contagious, I guess is what I'm trying
Yes.
to say.
Yeah, and by getting the courage out there, somebody starting to speak up can start the motion going. It's like, wow, you're speaking up against this, but what you're saying makes sense. So, that's you want to get the ball going the other way. I think
And
human nature is we're different. We look for we believe in different things, but in the old days we just shared our beliefs, and now they're afraid to share anything that doesn't go down the party line.
Yep.
So got to break that. That's bad. That's not good.
well,
So one thing we're doing, and sorry, I was a little distracted because I was trying to pull up some images here and get them on top of us so you can still hear us. So
Yes, that would be good.
don't mind the stuff in the background. One of the ways that you can help the VCDL Academy is watch for the raffle that's coming up. So you see 5 prizes here on your screen. The biggest one is that 50 BMG rifle right there. That's a Zastava M93, and it's $9,000 MSRP. That is the top prize. Henry Rifle has donated a Golden Boy 22. One of the VCDL members has donated that AR pistol, and it will come with a pistol brace if the pistol brace rule is overturned. VCDL has also purchased the Henry rifle that you see, the U.S. Survivor rifle, the AR-7 with the gear pack, and the brand new Springfield Echelon. So I'm really excited about this raffle, and my husband is really mad about this raffle because he's not eligible to buy a ticket. but tickets are $50 each, and there will only be 1,500 tickets printed. So we are waiting on our raffle permit as we speak, and we'll be announcing very shortly in the VA alert. The drawing will be in November at the meeting at XCal shooting range.
Oh,
So that'll be the 3rd Thursday in November.
that's exciting.
And if you're at that meeting and you win, XCal said that they will do the background check transfer for $25, so you'd be able to take the gun home with you. If you're not at that meeting, you can pick the gun up at my gun store north of Richmond, or we can make arrangements to get it shipped to an FFL close to you. But it would save VCDL and VCDL Academy much needed funds if you can pick it up at one of those 2 places. So
Yeah, this is what you'll be shooting, the 50 BMG.
So are you saying that I'm ineligible for this? I can't buy a ticket?
Actually, you are not on the board or an officer or an employee, so you are eligible to buy a ticket.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I will pay to watch you shoot this thing.
Yeah, it is a nice rifle, and it is in my shop right now. I will try to take it to some gun shows. I was hoping to bring it to the meeting this coming Thursday night at XCal. So that is Thursday the 17th. It is a big Modecker. The box is taller than me. So tickets, Gregory, I think you're asking how much the tickets are. Tickets will be $50 a piece. That's 50. And there will only be 1,500 tickets printed.
So $50, one for each BMG.
Right. Yeah. And,
So this is
I
a
mean, we did not, yes, $50. We did
And
not pick that
1,500
by the
tickets.
number of fingers or toes or anything.
No,
So,
but
So I didn't
1,500
realize
tickets.
that gun raffles were such a big deal for like fire departments all over the country, for their volunteer fire sources or whatever. So this little town in Pennsylvania where my parents are from has this rinky dink, there's only 750 people there, but they have this huge gun raffle every year and make tens of thousands of dollars off of it. And I'm like, how the
Oh, yeah.
hell is this little town? Well, anyways, it's all the surrounding towns. Everybody's buying tickets, and it's the thing, right? It's the
Yeah.
thing to get in because, like Pat said, there's only 1,500 tickets, right?
right.
So, like, you better buy your ticket. And if they can do it in a little Western PA town with 750 people and make tens of thousands of dollars, I mean, we can do it here in Virginia. I mean,
Yeah,
buy
and
your
so
ticket, tell
you
your
get
friends.
five
Those are great prizes. Those are great.
5 chances out of 1,500 tickets. So you get 5 shots at it in that fairly
Right.
small number of tickets.
Yeah, that's
So
fantastic.
the way it'll work when we do the drawing, the first ticket drawn will be the winner of the 50 cal. But we're not going to announce it when we draw it. It'll go back in an envelope and taped to the wall or something where everybody can see it. And then we will draw the 5th place winner and announce them. We'll draw the 4th place winner and announce them. We'll draw the 3rd place winner and announce them. Draw the 2nd place winner and
Yeah,
announce
we need a
them.
drummer.
And then, Andrew drum roll, we'll announce the winner of the 50 cal. So there are 5 prizes. There will be 5 winners, but only one winner of the 50 cal.
And I'm assuming you have to be 18 to buy a ticket.
You do have to be 18 to buy a ticket. Now, if you are 18, 19, or 20 and you win one of the handguns, then we will, if it's the AR pistol, we will convert it to an AR rifle and you will win that. If it is the Echelon, we will replace it with a long gun of equal or greater value. But other than that, there's no substitutions.
Okay.
So, Bill Osby wanted to know where my shop is in relation to Richmond. I am 15 miles due west of King's Dominion, if that helps you. I'm just barely in the corner of Hanover County, where Hanover, Caroline, Spotsylvania, and Louisa come together in a little rinky-dink town called Beaver Dam. So if you're up that way, stop in. I have literally probably the world's tiniest gun store. It is 244 square feet. So it is a teeny tiny one. Now,
You
the
fit a
other
lot in
thing,
there.
yeah, I pack a punch in there.
You
So
do.
let's see, what does Michael Dalton say? Two mentions of VCDL Academy sound small, but the world grows in passing. Also, Radford U students use BSR. The other fundraiser that VCDL is doing, and I just got a prototype for that, is we are celebrating. Let me put some pictures up. We are celebrating the fact that we got switchblades legalized. And so we are having VCDL switchblades that will be for sale. These are made by SOG, and they have a 2.94 inch blade. Philip, while I'm pulling up pictures here, do you want to explain the significance of that size
Okay.
blade?
Virginia generally does not have any laws on blade length, but there are 2 exceptions to that. One is school grounds, and 2 is the General Assembly building, and so forth. They both limit to blades under 3 inches. So it can't be 3 inches, but it can be 2.99 inches, and these are 2.94. So that way you can carry them in your pocket everywhere, on school grounds, in the General Assembly, as you go about your life generally. That way you have a handy pocket knife with you, and one that you can deploy with one hand.
Yep. So this is an image of the front of the knife. And
What do they sell for?
They will sell for $150, which is the MSRP on that particular knife. Yeah, you could get the knife a little bit less expensive other places. Maybe I've seen them for sale for like $139.99.
But they won't be engraved. Yeah, it won't be engraved
so,
with the VCDL, which you have to pay for all that too.
So the engraving is going to be a little bit different. This was the prototype, and so that we can see it more clearly, instead of having that big solid white ring around, it's going to have two thin white rings, and the lettering is going to be white. So he tested it out today. I guess this is going to be my knife since it didn't come out exactly like we wanted it, but it's close. And on the back side, it'll say vcdl.org. Now, one cool thing about this, if you see the little red dot by the button where you deploy it, if you push the button forward and cover that red dot up, it actually locks the blade so that it doesn't come open in your pocket. But you don't have a separate unlock. You just pull that button rearward, and it unlocks the blade and deploys the knife at the same time. So this one is in the locked position now. Let me see if I put it in front of me and it'll work. And then I just pull it down and it opens. And I was practicing with it today. I can close it with one hand. So it's nice and thin.
She used to have 5 fingers, though. No.
It has all the
Yeah. So
I was picturing what you were saying about how basically you turn the safety off and it comes on. I was picturing 1911 doing that. Who needs a trigger? You just push down on the safety and boom.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm playing with it a little bit tonight and getting used to it. I like it. It's thin. It has aluminum scales. So it's lightweight. It's thin. It works well. It's a nice sharp blade. And it's not the stiletto type blade, which sadly is still banned, but that's
we'll
on
work
our
on
agenda for 2024.
Yes, we're going to try and fix the knife laws in 2024 if you guys help us get some good people in the General Assembly. That's put me down. I'm definitely going to get one of the first knives you get. Been waiting.
Watch your emails. The VA alert will have details of pre-orders, and sadly, there aren't a whole lot of these available. So I have to order from a couple of different places, but I think I can get between 100 and 150. So the supply is limited.
Yeah.
So when the email comes out, we will be taking pre-orders, and then we'll order the knives and send them to Jay to get engraved. And then he'll bring them to me and we'll mail them out to the people that order them. So it will be a little bit of a delay from when you order it and pay for it to when you get it. But I think it'll be worth the wait.
We did a show of hands. We announced this back at the VCDL membership meeting up in Loudon. And I think well over half the room raised their hands if they want one. I think those knives are going to blast. They'll be gone in no time. But I'm down for the next knife. You get the first one, Pat. I'm grabbing the second one.
Well, the second one will probably.
I'm not waiting for the email.
The first one.
So it's fine. I think we need someone to add some graphics to the next call, because It's like there's only 1,500 tickets. We need the ticker tape underneath, be prepared. There's only be a limited quantity of these knives,
Yes.
get now,
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
Yes.
But
But
it is
wait,
true.
there's more.
Yeah, there is.
The whammy brush or whatever we've got next going for you. But yeah, and I think we've outlined a lot of ways that people can give and get involved tonight. Whether it's with young people, whether it's with the elections, whether it in various ways that you can buy something to support or donate. So it all sounds like a lot, but this is what needs to happen. Everybody can do one thing, right?
Right. Well, we're at war, Kathy. We're
Yeah.
at war. I mean, let's just
Break it
call it
down,
what it is.
Yeah, and everybody, if everybody does one thing, it's the many hands makes light work. I'm not expecting everybody to buy a $50 ticket, a knife, come to the event, start running around with VCDL shirt, lighting their hair on fire. That's not what we're talking about, right? We're talking about everybody doing their one thing. I would love for you to come to our event, but if you can't come to our event because you've got a scheduling difference, look at the knife, look at the raffle ticket, buy something off the VCDL website,
Work a gun show.
work a gun show, text your 10 friends, give money to one of our endorsed candidates. As much as they compete with money, some people don't like giving to PACs. I get it. I have to say, we make very good use of our money. 99.99% goes directly to candidates or efforts
We have
to
nobody paid on the
have
PAC.
no overhead. We have zero overhead. Well, okay, I can't say zero. We have very little overhead.
Yeah.
So, every dollar that we take in from the PAC level goes to support candidates.
We're not buying you $1,000 suits? I'll be damned. Oh, well.
Yeah. Listen,
So-
I buy my glasses from Amazon, so I'm a cheap, I'm a cheap person. I honestly, I will never waste your money, but we've outlined so much tonight that I just want people to know there's a variety of ways that you can make a difference in the Second Amendment community during this crucial election period. And if there's something that you want to do with young people, you get a hold of Al. You know what I mean? Spread your ideas, because everybody knows young people. Everybody knows different people in different parts of the state. It's different up here in Northern Virginia than it is in Southern Virginia, than it is in Richmond, as it is in Tidewater. There's touch points along the way. So please, throw out the ideas. I love reading the comments because it's really, jarring a lot of what I'm thinking tonight. So thank you for all the comments.
Yeah, we usually have really good comments down there.
What Cathy was saying about making contributions, you can contribute directly to candidates that you want to support. You could also sign up to work for their campaigns. But I will want to point out that when you contribute to the PAC, you're pooling your money. And because of that, it allows the PAC to do things that you yourself couldn't do, like run regional ads.
Yeah.
That not just support a particular candidate, but support a concept, and therefore support a multitude of candidates in races at once. So it can be a strategic move sometimes if you don't have $50,000 to donate to a candidate. You can donate a much smaller amount to a PAC like the VCDL-PAC, and combined with other people's contributions, you can have that same kind of an influence.
Yes, it is pooling your money. Political action committees get a bad rap all the time just because, well, and it's funny to see all of the anti-Second Amendment money that's come in the past couple of years, starting in kind of 17 and just millions and millions of dollars, and especially getting a hold of some of these Commonwealth races. I mean, don't get me started or we'll be here for another hour. But when you saw that money come in, it's funny because the Republicans are starting to, they were very, very good about it in 2021. There were a lot of conservative resources that came into the state. VCDL-PAC had the money. Again, coalition partnering, everybody rowing in the same direction. I'm going to give it to Governor Youngkin for setting up a PAC, and they're all mad. You know why they're mad? Because we're competing. The
How
horror.
dare you?
Oh, the
How
horror
dare
of
you?
conservatives are standing up and actually doing something. It's stuff that they've been doing very, very well. And I'm going to give it to the progressives very, very well for the past 5 to 7 years in the state of Virginia. Just year after year after year, a dogged effort. And it is grit and it is determination. And, these are the factors. You may not like them, but they are getting in there, right? And they're getting it done, and we got to get it done too. So whatever you want to do, whatever small
So
part you can play, we
Is
are
it-
Jeff
all
is
thankful.
asking, is the PAC endorsed Dolores Oates? The PAC has not made any endorsement yet. We are waiting for the deadline, the first deadline for the surveys to be submitted. In order to be considered, a candidate must answer the VCDL survey. So VCDL puts out surveys. The candidates that respond, the responses are sent to the PAC in a spreadsheet. The PAC looks at the candidate, the survey responses. They look at the candidates' political history. If they've held office, how did they vote? If they've made public statements on the Second Amendment, what were they? A number of factors go into the decision-making process. But the PAC is a committee, and the committee decides as a whole. It's not an individual decision. But
How
the
soon do
first
you think?
step, go ahead,
How
Phil.
soon do you think the PAC would be making endorsements for
I'm
the
like trying
upcoming
to look at
election?
the exact day for early voting, and I don't know why my Google machine is not helping here, but it is like sometime in the middle of September. So I want to get them done
Before then,
before that.
excellent.
We had the 45 days before the primaries was, starting, and, the primary was June 20th. So it started at the beginning of May, and we were scrambling, we were making last minute endorsements, and we got a lot of feedback from some of our primary endorsements. And, we take all information in, but I have to remind everyone, we're an all volunteer organization. If there's something going on in your House or Senate district or some race, and you don't like the way a candidate has acted or whatever, I don't necessarily have the resource to send out an investigative team to see if what you are saying is correct. I don't have that kind of reach. I know a lot of people, but I don't know that many people. So, let's be real here. There's all kinds of flavors and all kinds of personalities, and we do what we do. And I have to say, there was great unanimity in our decision making in the primary process. And there generally is in the general election endorsements too. It's very rare that there's, huge disagreements. Most of the time it's because in the general election, we don't have Democrats that are filling out our surveys that are going to beat a Republican that's probably already held office and has a voting record. We did endorse a Democrat in the primaries. It was really surprising that one of them sent in a survey and scored like pro-gun or maybe it wasn't very pro-gun, but I can't remember what their rating was.
I think it was pro-gun.
But, they were okay on like 7 out of 10 questions. And I'm like, it piqued our interest because
It's moving in the right
we
direction.
are nonpartisan, right?
Right.
I really don't care what party you belong to as long as you support the Second Amendment.
Yeah. And
Yep.
actually, and Jen Mitchell was saying, that Dolores Oates is having an event. Well, what I would say to Jen is, number one, my part of the group can't advertise that. That would be being partisan and so forth. So I can't advertise that on VA Alert. The PAC could, but the PAC can't now because they haven't sent endorsements. They're not going to be announcing everybody who's having an event unless they're being endorsed. Then the PAC would be tending to do that kind of stuff again to drive as much resources towards those people that they believe in. Not saying that they wouldn't necessarily believe in Dolores Oates. They may end up endorsing her. I don't know. But for now, that can't be shared.
If Dolores Oates invited Philip Van Cleve to speak at her event where she was holding the benefit, that would be totally different, because Philip Van Cleve would then advertise that he was speaking at an event. So there is that. So yeah, the other thing that we're waiting for, you asked when the endorsements were coming out. What drives this is actually the State Board of Elections. So the State Board of Elections has deadlines, and then the qualified candidates that meet all of the deadlines and all of the requirements send their information to the State Board of Elections, who then publishes a list of qualified candidates. Once that list is published, then Jim Snyder, the VCDL vice president, sends the surveys to all of the candidates on that list. And he gives them a reasonable length of time to respond, which is the deadline. Once that deadline is reached, and there's multiple deadlines, but once that first deadline is reached, he sends the spreadsheet to the PAC. The PAC holds a meeting. We're usually scrambling to get everybody together at the last minute so that we can get this out, because the State Board of Elections tends to drag their feet on these things. So that's how that works.
Yeah, and we do general research, but like I said, we can't know everything that's going on with everyone. And quite frankly, if someone was, kind of a butthead to your friend that's a candidate or whatever, I really can't negotiate these type of personality conflicts. And that rises above, it's all people process, right? That's what getting elected is all about. So, everybody should just have good manners and be on their best behavior and communicate to us what you hear, but know that, I'm not going to get in the middle of some regional squabble about anything. We kind of have to go with the information that we get gathered. So, but thank you everybody that provided feedback, whether it was good or bad, because we want to hear from you. Hopefully I responded, as best I could. And, we're going to try, now that somebody posted, it is September 22nd. Early voting begins in the entire state. And look on your registrar's website, because they will have in-person voting locations. It's usually at your registrar's office. And then as it moves closer to the election, like maybe the last 2 weeks, they'll open up little other satellite offices. That's what happens up here in Loudon. You can go to Leesburg registrar's office, and then the 2 or 3 weeks before, they open 2 or 3 more offices in other places within the county. So look on there, and they always post the information, and share it with your friends. Put it on your Facebook page. You can't tweet it out anymore. What is it called now? Exit. Why they got rid of the tweeting thing, it makes no sense to me as a branding situation, but share that information. Just share it, because you never know who's going to be looking at. They may not like it, and they may not say anything to you, but they'll be like, oh, shoot, I'm going to be out of town at the first week in November. I can just walk in and early vote. And you got one, you know what I mean? So just be polite, share the information, text your friends, and thank you all.
And fight fire with fire.
Fight fire with fire, man. You got to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are getting kind of late in the evening here. And so we'll be closing up, saying our goodbyes really shortly here. Al, do you have anything you want to say in closing?
Just, make sure that you do talk to as many people as you can. This election is extremely important, and I just can't go back to 2019. So please, support the PAC, support the Academy, so that we don't have to go through this in the future. In another 10 years, we won't be in the same situation, and we can keep the Commonwealth going on the right track.
Amen.
Yeah.
It's inches by inches, not mile by mile. We are not going to be getting, okay, if we get big, huge majorities of Second Amendment supporters in both houses, hallelujah, right? But we're looking, and the reality is it's going to be a 1 or 2 seat spread in either.
Yeah. And we want it to be a spread in our favor.
Yeah.
But if we don't do our part, we're stuck with a bad setup for at least 2 years for part of it and 4 years
Mm.
for the other part. That's a long time
Yep.
to be stuck with the wrong people in office. So let's get the job done, guys.
And Philip
So-
and Pat know better than anybody what it was like to see things get clogged up in the Senate committee.
No,
Yeah.
common sense stuff.
Philip too. So absolutely, the House is up for election. The entire House is up for election every 2 years. The Senate, it's every 4 years. So this year, both the House and the Senate are up for reelection, and so we can make a huge difference because it, as Cathy says, it's an off year. We don't have the governor, the lieutenant governor, the AG. We don't
President.
have any national elections. Nothing for Congress, nothing for president or vice president or anything like that. It is just a few local races and the entire General Assembly. So turnout at the polls will be low. We can make a marked difference if we show up in force.
Yeah. If we show up and nobody else is showing up, boy, watch out. There's a lot of gun owners in Virginia. We could do anything we wanted if we could just get everybody just to show up for such a short amount of time. One day out of the year could make a massive difference for this whole state. We wouldn't have the headaches we have now. We wouldn't be sitting here with gun bans where you can't even carry at a rest stop. And we, to the point that Cathy was making, yeah, we just simply said, look, let us carry at the rest stops. We tried that this year. The rest stops, for crying out loud, at 2 a.m. Why can't we carry in there? Oh no, then got through the House, but the Senate said, oh no, just wouldn't do it. Common sense, as simple as that is, they wouldn't do it. And I'm tired of it.
Got it through, but not quite.
Yep, but it doesn't, only in hand grenades and atomic bombs does it not matter that you didn't do it perfectly. So,
and please remember all your local races. Like I said, the county board of supervisors and your constitutional officers, to include your sheriffs and Commonwealth attorneys that are so key in our Second Amendment fight, need
school
your
board.
help. So, up here in Northern Virginia, it's a mixed bag, but we have a really great one running in Prince William County for Commonwealth attorney. His last name is Lowry. Look him up, and anybody in Prince William County, help him out, because he's running against one of these progressives that's an incumbent. Unfortunately, in Loudoun and Fairfax, it's out of hand. We do have someone here running in Loudoun, and God bless him for stepping up. His name is Bob Anderson. But so there are opportunities, and these are very key roles. Our constitutional officers are very important, and all of those smaller offices, whether it's a town council or a city, are feeder systems for people that they're pushing up. We've seen a whole slew of school board candidates that are just completely awful that are now running in Senate and House races. So you all know this. I'm not saying
the school board's important too.
So all of these, they start from the ground up, and they work them up, and they build a bench, right? The progressives are really good about building a bench, and we need to do the same thing. Our candidates are set right now, so let's do what we can, from city council all the way up to the Senate.
Okay, so proactive things to do. Stay engaged with your local governments. Learn about who's running in the 2023 elections, and watch for the survey results. If you don't see a candidate in your local races that turns in their survey, or even your state races, if they haven't turned in their survey, pester them to get it turned in so that we know where they stand on the Second Amendment. And it's not good enough to just say, I support the Second Amendment. We want people that will go on record in writing, sign their name to it. Watch for a PAC alert coming out this coming week that will have details on the Top Gun sign it, share it. While I'm thinking about sharing, smash that like button and share this video with your friends. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to our channel. It helps us out in the algorithms. Share this with your friends. They can listen to it on the commute. I know it was a long one tonight, but I'm excited about the conversations we had here. Keep up with the VCDL Academy, support them however you can, which means checking in with Al every once in a while and buying your raffle ticket. Support VCDL by buying your Switchblade pocket knife when those come out. And I'm going to close after Philip says his goodbyes by putting the Top Gun flyer back on the screen. So, Philip, any closing remarks from you?
Well, yeah, Jen Mitchell said, where do I download the candidate surveys? If you go on a website, vcdl.org, and you go to VA Virginia Politics and come down, you'll see candidate surveys and survey responses and so forth. But if you want to see the survey, they're right there. And those could be shared if you wish with somebody, but they'll officially go out to the candidates a little bit later, but they're up there.
So the web address is on the screen, vcdl.org/candidate-surveys. And on there you will find the current surveys. And then once we start getting the answers back, you'll find the posted grades. Their actual answers are not made public unless they do something that goes against the answers in their survey. So if somebody says that they will vote to repeal the one handgun a month law, and then they don't vote to repeal it when it comes up, then we would make their survey public. Other than that, it'll just show pro-gun, very pro-gun.
We want to show they lied to us. Simple as that.
And yes,
no, I don't have any.
Send the link to Dolores. Make sure you get the 2023 link, though. There are prior year surveys up there.
And I believe, is it this Thursday coming up that we have the in-person meeting?
It is. It is at XCal.
Yep.
And that is in Ashburn, 44950 Russell Branch Parkway, I believe it is.
Yeah. Starts at 8 p.m.
Mm-hmm. But get there early, grab a taco or something, and bust a cap in their range, and maybe drool on a 50 cal. Yeah,
we'll have the 50 cal for you to look at, and a switchblade knife if you want to see up front what the quality of that is.
Yep.
When Pat's not looking, I could steal hers, and it would save me a lot of trouble. But okay.
You could have the first one, I guess. You are the president. So.
No, that's all right. I'll settle for number 2. It's okay.
Well, I mean, I have mine already. I do have one that I've been carrying. It doesn't say VCDL on it, but I'll bring it. You can check it out, and if you claim it, then I will take number 2.
Yeah, it's okay. All right. Well, that's all I had. Look, I know everybody needs to go to bed for tomorrow, but appreciate everybody coming out and sharing this. As always, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good information out here and a lot of good comments. We've got a great crowd.
Absolutely. VCDL members are the best.
They're the best
people.
You bet.
Yep.
They are.
All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Bye.